Jake Harper had only been in Willow House for a few weeks, a creaky old rental on the outskirts of Ravenswood, a small town in upstate New York. The rent was suspiciously low for such a spacious place, and despite being a bachelor, the landlord, Mr. Grayson, had agreed to let him move in without hesitation. Jake, a pragmatic software engineer, shrugged off the oddity, chalking it up to luck. The house was close to his office, a short walk through the misty woods, and that was all that mattered. But the first night, he noticed something strange. The air in his bedroom turned icy cold, even with the summer heat pressing against the windows. He didn't need to turn on the AC to feel a chill that sank into his bones. Mr. Grayson visited every morning, his weathered face etched with a peculiar worry. "Everything okay, Jake? Sleeping well?" he'd ask, his eyes darting around the room as if searching for something unseen. Jake, always quick to dismiss, would nod and say, "All good." But each time, the landlord's relief seemed almost too palpable, like a man who dodged a bullet. It wasn't long before Jake's curiosity turned to suspicion. At the local diner, he overheard whispers from the regulars about the house. "Nobody stays in Willow House long," an old man muttered over his coffee. "Not since her." Jake pressed for details, and after some reluctance, the diner's cook spilled the tale. A young woman named Eliza had died in that house years ago, her life cut short under mysterious circumstances. They called her a restless spirit, a ghost, or worse, a wraith. "Ain't nobody lasted more than a week," the cook said, eyeing Jake with a mix of pity and disbelief. "You're still there after 2? That's something else." Jake laughed it off, but the seed of doubt was planted. That night, as he cooked a late dinner, grilled cheese left half-eaten on a plate, he noticed the house felt different. The cold was sharper, the shadows deeper. He left the dirty dishes in the sink, too tired to care. The next morning, they were spotless, neatly stacked in the cabinet. Jake froze, his pulse quickening. Had he cleaned them in a sleep-deprived haze? The thought didn't sit right. Days later, exhaustion from long hours at work had him stumbling through the front door at 10 p.m. He kicked off his boots, tossed his jacket on the floor, and headed for bed, craving sleep. That's when he heard it. A voice, soft and cold as frost on glass, drifting from the darkness behind him. "Why are you so messy, Jake?" His heart lurched. He spun around, but the hallway was empty. His boots, however, were now neatly aligned by the door. His jacket hung on the rack. The air grew colder, the kind of cold that clawed at his skin and made his breath catch. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was overtired, hallucinating. But the goosebumps prickling his arms told a different story. Over the next week, the voice returned, always gentle, but laced with a teasing reprimand for his untidiness. Jake's fear began to fade, replaced by a strange fascination. He left a note one morning, scrawled on a napkin atop his crumpled shirt, "I want to meet you." When he returned from work, the shirt was folded, but no one appeared. That night, as he stared out the frost-covered window, a silhouette flickered in the moonlight. A woman, pale and ethereal, hovering just beyond the glass. His heart thudded, but he forced himself to approach. "Are you here?" he whispered. The figure glided through the window as if it were air, materializing in the dim glow of the room. Eliza was breathtaking, her features delicate yet haunting, her eyes deep pools of sorrow and wonder. Jake's breath hitched, not from fear, but from her otherworldly beauty. "What? Never seen a ghost before?" she teased, her laugh echoing like wind through a hollow tree. The sound sent shivers down his spine, both thrilling and unnerving. They talked for hours, Eliza's presence filling the room with an unnatural chill that Jake barely noticed anymore. She spoke of her world, a shadowy mirror of the living one, where spirits lingered, bound by unfinished business. "Some of us can't let go," she said, her voice heavy with regret. Jake found himself drawn to her, their conversation stretching late into the night. She'd appear when he came home, the room growing colder, the lights flickering. Once, she brought a strange, luminescent vial, a drink from her world, she claimed. It tasted like nothing he'd ever known, sweet and sharp, leaving his head spinning. Each sip made him feel lighter, as if he were drifting away from himself. But the more time he spent with Eliza, the worse he felt. His co-workers noticed the dark circles under his eyes, his gaunt cheeks. "You look like death, man," one said. Even Mr. Grayson's daily check-ins grew more urgent. "You sure you're okay, Jake? You don't look right." Jake brushed it off, blaming work stress, but deep down, he knew something was wrong. The vials Eliza brought became a nightly ritual, and with each one, he felt less anchored to the world. One evening, Eliza made a chilling proposal. "You could come with me," she said, her eyes gleaming with a hunger that made Jake's stomach twist. "To my world, it's possible if you want it." She explained that his soul could be freed from his body, a temporary journey to her realm. All it would take was willpower, a deliberate act to sever the ties binding his spirit to his flesh. Jake, entranced by her, agreed without hesitation. "I want it," he said, his voice trembling with a mix of longing and dread. Night after night, he tried to will his soul free, lying in bed, focusing until his head ached. Nothing worked. Sorry for the interruption. If you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button below. So, let's continue the video. Eliza grew quieter, her face etched with desperation. One night, as Jake lay exhausted, she appeared, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I never got what I wanted in life," she whispered, "and now, not even in death." Her pain cut through him, fueling his determination. Then, at 3 a.m., it happened. Jake awoke to a room bathed in an eerie, pulsating light, unlike anything he'd ever seen. The air hummed with an unnatural energy, and when he moved, he felt weightless, as if gravity had abandoned him. Glancing down, he saw his own body lying on the bed, still and pale, dressed in the same clothes he'd worn to sleep. His heart, or whatever passed for it now, raced. He'd done it. He was free. But as he tried to move, a silvery cord, thin and shimmering, tethered him to his body. He tugged at it, panic rising as it refused to give. Eliza appeared, holding a ghostly axe, its blade glowing with an unholy light. "We need to cut it," she said, her voice flat, her smile hollow. Jake's blood ran cold. "Will I be able to come back?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Of course," she said too quickly, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of something dark, something predatory. Before she could swing the axe, the bedroom door burst open. Mr. Grayson stood there, wild-eyed, with the town's pastor, Father Michael, beside him. They didn't see Jake's spectral form, their eyes fixed on his body. "Is it too late?" Mr. Grayson shouted, his voice cracking with fear. Father Michael knelt beside the bed, pressing a hand to Jake's chest. "Still warm," he said. "There's time." The pastor began chanting, sprinkling holy water across the room. Jake felt a searing pain as the droplets hit his spectral form, pulling him back toward his body. Eliza's face twisted in anguish, then vanished in a wisp of shadow. Jake screamed, though no sound came, as he was yanked back into his body. He woke the next morning, drenched in sweat, Mr. Grayson hovering over him. The landlord's face was a mask of relief and guilt. Father Michael explained everything. Jake's screams in the night had alerted Mr. Grayson, who'd suspected the house's dark history. The pastor revealed that Eliza had been luring Jake's soul, feeding him spectral poison through those vials to weaken his tether to life. If we hadn't come, Father Michael said gravely, you'd be gone. Jake packed a bag that day and left Willow House, moving in with a friend until he could find a new place. In his bag, he found a scrap of paper, written in an elegant, unfamiliar hand. I only wanted you with me. That was my only crime. He tore it to pieces, his hands trembling, and tossed it out the window of the cab. The chill of Eliza's world lingered in his bones, but the warmth of being alive felt sweeter than ever. Still watching, but not subscribed? A lot of effort goes into making these videos. When you subscribe and share, it keeps me motivated to create more. So please, make sure to subscribe.